What's going on, everybody? We're getting ready to start turning some wrenches today. Sean finally got his JL Wrangler in diesel and brought it to my house today, and we've had the parts for a while, so we're excited to get started. So that's actually the accessory kit right there, right?
I think so.
All right.
It's like opening a Christmas present.
Okay. Yeah, so that's going to be your sway bar links right there. Obviously, there's going to be a bushing package in here. We're going to have to put those in. Looks like we got some bump stops here. That looks like a track bar bracket. This is all rear parts, by the way. So these would be your rear bump stops, rear track bar bracket. This can be all your bushings and collars and crush pins.
What I love about opening these packages is that they give you lots of stickers. You can never have enough stickers.
All right. So that, I believe, is going to be your rear track bar by the length of the box. That's another reason to go with EVO. They don't skimp. This is all high grade Johnny joints, super heavy steel, so can't go wrong with the chromoly.
More decals. It's a decal in every box. This should be their slogan.
So this is going to be the lower control arms for the rear. So this is going to have to be the upper control arms for the rear. Again, look how heavy those are. They do not skimp when they come to the products at EVO. Sure enough.
All right, that's a rear suspension from EVO.
Minus your shocks.
Minus the shocks.
That's the pretty part. Oh yeah, look at those guys. King reservoirs. It's icing on the cake right there. So we're going to get all this unpackaged and laid out, and we will give you kind of a rundown of what we got. Okay, everybody, we got everything unpacked, and so you can see everything we got here. Of course, you have the mandatory decals, so everybody sends you that. Got to have that. Everybody loves the decals. So what you got here is your sway bar links. You got a depression, these bushings with these crush sleeves. This is your bump stop extensions. I think this is a 4.5 inch Overland setup. This is your track bar bracket. So that keeps your geometry of your track bar set up right. Have not looked into the kit to see what these are. These look like some type of maybe a brake line extension or what have you. I'll have to look when we get in there and see what that's about. This is your hardware to install your track bar bracket. This is your crush sleeve for your track bar bracket. And again, this is all just rear equipment. 4.5 inch springs, lower control arms, upper control arms, all new hardware for everything to install, and of course the icing on the cake, these ridiculous King shocks, which are going to be nice. So I like that they have the built-in guards on here, so it keeps a little bit of protection for the bottom of these when you bolt them in. So we're about to get started, and we will show you how you put this thing together. All right, everybody, we got the back wheels off and we're ready to start taking this thing apart. So one of the first things you're gonna have to do, and Sean's about to do it for us, is this little panel on a stock one, it needs to come off. We're gonna be doing away with that altogether eventually because we're gonna get a new bumper and it'll be kind of obsolete for that. But one of the first things you're gonna take off, I think it's an 8mm, and you can already tell where those new tires we threw on there just to see how they would fit has already been rubbing, so good riddance to that. So Sean had most of the bolts out already, but there's 3 that hold it in there. You got one there, one here, and one here. And the reason you're gonna have to take this off is because for this shock to come out, you're gonna have to take out this bolt up here, and that's the only way you can get to it. So that has to come out. Next thing you're gonna have to do is take off the lower shock bolt down here. You're gonna have to take off your brake line bolts. You got one here and you got one here. And then you're gonna have to take off your sway bar link. So you got a bolt up here and a nut and bolt down here. So Sean's gonna knock that out and then we'll move on to the next step.
The other one's right here?
Yep. That's a 13mm.
That's what she said. Wait, how did I do this a minute ago? Oh, we must have taken that other.
So that's going to loosen up your brake lines, so that
It should be all.
so they can articulate when you're going to do the suspension.
All right.
And then the bolt starts coming loose on you. You throw the Allen wrench in the back of that to give you a little resistance.
And I'm not even a lefty.
There you go.
Okay, so next step is to take off the track bar. This one's torqued a little more, so you're going to either need a torque wrench or a heavy-duty impact wrench.
Or a big long-handled socket ratchet. That's why I like impacts. It makes everything so much easier.
Okay, now taking off the other side of the track bar. This is a 21mm.
All right, guys, we already got the springs out. All you had to do is drop the axle. Now we're getting the axle up on jack stands and getting ready to pull off the control arms. As you can see, big difference in the springs. You know, you got your stock Rubicons here, and this is going to be the 4.5 inch lift that we're hoping to get out of these EVOs. It's going to be really nice. So we're going to start working on getting the control arms off. Okay, everybody, so we've got this thing on jack stands to hold the axle so we can get these control arms off. And then I put the high lift jack on the floor jack on the pinion so it won't roll when we pull these control arms off. And that'll keep everything stable so that we can manipulate the control arms and get everything bolted back up. So once you kind of snake this bracket into place, there's like a little flag that's going to have to fit inside the old bracket. You're supposed to take this 5/8 washer and insert it in here before you put the bolt in. I guess it's taking up some space between the brackets. I'm going to do that. I'm trying to snake this thing back into place here. There we go. Right. Now I've got it lined up in the hole, and we're going to take the crush sleeve that I had here somewhere. There it is. And we're supposed to put the crush sleeve in between the brackets here to take up the dead space in there. Once you get this snugged up and in place, you're going to have to drill out a hole right here, and they're going to have some more hardware to install, and we'll come back and do that. All right, so what we're doing now is you've got to take a U-bolt and it's going to feed through here on either side. Hopefully it's not going to be too much of a pain to get it to squeeze. Sometimes these U-bolts, there we go, can be a little bit of a pain. Yeah. All right, so sometimes these U-bolts need a little finesse. So I'm just going to try to tap it in here a little bit. Just get those threads to show. There we go. I'm going to need to put a washer or nut. All right, I'm just going to snug this bolt up. Why not? Sean's trying to get this upper control arm in with this flag nut. As you can see, there's a flag nut that goes up through there, and that's from what we've surmised is one of the problems, one of the biggest problems you have with putting these upper ones on.
Oh, she's ridiculous, but she got her G-Ride. Oh, you're filming this while I was talking about her.
It's okay.
You can edit that out, right? It'd be music, not us, right?
No, Rusty, you're on film.
Ah, thank you.
You're famous.
Yeah.
My dad always said there's a difference between being famous and infamous.
Yes, the infamous.
All right, let's hand tight both of them.
All right, so we're having to press in our bushings for the rear sway bar links and the crush sleeves inside of them. So put a good bit of little white lithium grease on here just to get enough lubrication to press it in. Getting it in the little vise here, and should just pop right in. Well, as long as you get it straight. There we go. Oh, and there it goes. Once it gets past that little collar right there, you can see it's kind of got that dip. Once it pops past that, it kind of seats itself, so makes it pretty easy. Then we're going to do the same thing with the sleeves.
Okay, next we're going to put on the sway bar links, and that's going to go right here, and we're reusing one of the factory bolts that they gave, and then they provide us another one here. So you're going to need an 18 millimeter and a 19 millimeter wrench and socket. Okay.
There's nothing you can do right now.
So we're going to get this started.
These have got to be side specific.
Alright, so next we're going to put the bump stop extensions on so that we can put the bump stop in the shock down.
Alright, now we're putting on the jewelry. These big ridiculous king shocks we got here. They're going to look nice, and I'm sure they're going to ride even better. So they are marked right and left. Putting in the right side first. It's going to fit into your normal shock tower spot up here. Just feed that through. Get the thread started. Down here in the bottom, we're going to have to jack up the axle a little bit to get it to fit in here. All right, we didn't film everything. There's a few things we kind of had to work around. Being that this is a diesel, it's got a def tank back here. So some of the adjustments that you would normally think or would expect to make control arm wise aren't necessarily possible with the bracketry because of the interference of that depth canister. So we had to be a little creative with the getting everything lined up and everything, but I think we're good on the pinion angle and everything. I think it's going to ride well. But this is the stage 4 Overland kit, 4.5 inch lift. Got the big 2.5 King shocks. So this thing should ride really nice. All EVO equipment. So just a quick, go over with the kit. You're going to have to do all 4 control arms, track bar bracket, track bar. You're going to put in the sway bar links, springs, and the shocks, along with all the hardware and the bump stops. So it's pretty much a complete kit, and for the most part it was fairly easy. It was just figuring out some of the geometry with the depth tank, just so everything we had cleared. But I think it's going to be a good kit. So we're going to be moving on to the front, and we will show you as much of that as we can.